Life has a funny way of teaching you lessons that only make sense in hindsight. As I sit here as a 42-year-old, sipping my coffee, reflecting on the road I've traveled, I often think about my 18-year-old self, the young, eager one, blissfully unaware of the twists and turns ahead. What would I say to him if I could just sit him down for a chat? Hey, spoilers, it's not going to be some lofty lecture or a list of do this, not that rules. It would be more like, hey, you're going to mess up, and that's okay. Here's what I've learned along the way. And you know what? I'd throw in a little gem that I actually built down the road, which is Blakebill.com, that my younger self could have seriously benefited from. But more on that later. Let's actually dive in. You don't have to have it all figured out. At 18, I was convinced life was a series of neatly arranged steps. Graduate, pick a career, work hard, and everything would fall into place. I thought by 25 I'd have it all figured out. The dream job, the financial stability, and a clear sense of purpose. But life doesn't always work that way. It's full of twists and turns and surprises that amount of planning cannot predict. And honestly, that's a good thing. Looking back, I see how much pressure I put on myself to have all the answers. Society didn't help with ridiculous timelines. Graduate by 22, succeed by 25. Own a home by 30. The truth is, most people are just figuring it out as they go. Nobody has a secret map to life. And not having everything figured out doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. At 18, I couldn't have imagined creating something like Blakebill. But back then, my world was small, and my idea of success was a narrow, stable job and a predictable life. But life has other plans. Blakebill wasn't the result of some master plan. It came from years of trial and error, following my curiosity and addressing a recurring problem that was outdated and a frustrating process, of transferring files and waiting for the payments. It wasn't about knowing the whole path. It was about taking it one step at a time. Not having it all figured out is freeing. It gives you room to explore, fail, and pivot. If I'd stuck with my 18-year-old version of success, I wouldn't have discovered my passion for UX UI design or built a platform that helps these types of freelancers, simplify their workflow and get paid instantly. Life isn't about having all the answers. It's about opening to where the journey takes you. So if you're feeling lost or unsure, that's okay. You're exactly where you need to be. Stop comparing yourself to others. I spent much time comparing myself to others that I forgot to focus on my own life. Social media made it worse. It felt like everyone was just miles ahead. Perfect lives, perfect dream jobs, and flawless relationships. What I didn't realize back then was that comparison is a trap. You're only seeing the highlight reels of somebody else's life, not the full story. The guy with the perfect career might be struggling behind the scenes, and the girl with the amazing Instagram feed might be just as insecure as you are. The truth is, comparing yourself to others doesn't motivate. It paralyzes. It robs you of joy, distracts you from your goals, and leaves you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt. Breaking free from that mindset wasn't easy, but it started with one question. What do I actually want? Not what impresses others, but what genuinely makes me happy. That shift changed everything. I stopped seeing other people's success as a threat and started viewing it as inspiration. Instead of thinking, why not me? I'd ask, what can I learn from this? Life isn't a race. There's no perfect timeline. Your journey is unique, and it's the only thing that matters. The only one thing that you need to measure yourself against is how you were yesterday. And that's the only comparison worth making. Invest in skills, not stuff. Okay, I didn't realize how life-changing it could be to invest in skills. I thought success would come from a forward standard path, getting a degree, finding a job, and working hard. Like most people my age, I spent time on money on things that felt good in the short term. Clothes, gadgets, nights out, but none of those things actually contributed to my growth. Over time, I learned that skills are one of the few things that always increase in value, providing a return far greater than any material possession. Skills are powerful because they stay with you and they grow over time. They open doors, they help you adapt to challenges, and build confidence in your ability to handle life. The best part is that they stack. Learning one skill often makes it easier to pick up others, creating a foundation that continually strengthens. For me, it started with small steps. I didn't have a clear vision of where I was headed, so I followed my curiosity. One of the first areas I focused on was communication. Whether it was writing, designing, speaking, or just listening better, I quickly realized how much of life depends on clear, effective communication. It helped me express ideas, connect with others, and handle challenges more smoothly. Another critical skill I worked on was problem solving. At first, it felt intimidating. I'd see a challenge and immediately think, I can't handle this. But as I began breaking problems into smaller, more manageable parts, I realized that problem solving isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to approach situations. This skill became essential for tackling everything from personal issues to career hurdles. What's important to understand is that investing in skills doesn't have to mean formal education or spending a lot of money. Some of the most impactful skills I've learned come from affordable or free resources like online courses, books, and podcasts. Even dedicating a small amount of time to building a skill can learn to a significant growth over time. The biggest change came in my mindset. The more skills I learned, the more confident I felt about handling challenges. It shifted my perspective from I can't to how can I figure this out? That shift transformed the way I approached life. And looking back, I wish I had learned this skill earlier. Skills don't just improve your career, they enhance every part of your life. They give you the confidence and adaptability to create the life you want and one of the best investments you can make in yourself. Failure isn't the end, it's actually the beginning. You know, at 18, failure felt like the end of the world. Every mistake felt like an irreversible mark on my future. So I played it safe, avoiding risks and challenges. What I didn't understand was the failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's where real growth happens. Looking back, I see failure as a powerful teacher that pushes you to learn, adapt, and grow in ways success never could. Failure forces you to examine what went wrong and figure out how to improve. It's uncomfortable, but it's the discomfort that drives progress. Some of the best breakthroughs came through failures, and at the time it felt devastating. Those moments taught me reasons to try again and approach things differently. Each failure became a stepping stone to something better. I've also learned that failure is proof you're trying. Playing it safe can protect you from disappointment, but it keeps you stuck. Growth comes from stepping out of your comfort zone where failure is inevitable. The key is to embrace it, knowing it's part of the process. And you know what? Failure builds resilience. Each time you get back up, you grow stronger and more determined. Over time, it becomes less about failing and more about rising. It stops being something to fear and starts becoming something you want to accept as a part of your journey. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be this: don't fear failure. Every misstep is a step forward, leading you closer to your success. Your time is your most valuable asset. Again, I thought my time was limitless. I'd spend hours scrolling on my phone, binge watching shows, or procrastinating without a second thought. I didn't realize that time was one of the resources you can't get back. Unlike money or possessions, you can't save it or earn more of it. Once it's gone forever. Time reflects your priorities. If you're spending time on things that don't align with your goals, it's a time to reassess. At 18, I often felt too busy for certain opportunities, but I was really just prioritizing the wrong things. When I began to focus on what mattered, skills, relationships, personal growth, I saw real progress and fulfillment. Learning to say no is also essential. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something meaningful. Saying no isn't selfish. It's how you protect your time for what truly matters. I also learned that rest isn't wasted time. Taking breaks and recharging allows you to sustain energy and focus on the long run. If I could go back, I'd tell my younger self to treat time as a precious resource because it's intentional. Focus on what brings you closer to your goals. Build meaningful connections. Stop wasting time on things that don't matter. Time is finite. Use it wisely. Relationships matter more than you think. At 18, I thought relationships were just one part of life, something that came naturally and didn't need much thought. I didn't realize how much relationships would shape who you are, the opportunities that come your way, and how supported you feel in life. Looking back, I see how the connections I nurtured or neglected had a massive impact on my journey. No one succeeds alone. The people around you provide encouragement, insight, and perspective you can't find on your own. At 18, I often took relationships for granted, assuming they'd always be there. But strong relationships require effort, time, care, and presence. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that quality matters over quantity. It's better to have a few deep, meaningful relationships than to know 100 of acquaintances. True friends are the ones that show up, listen without judgment, and celebrate your wins as if they're their own. Those connections take time to build, and they're invaluable. Another lesson is the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. The people in your life influence your mindset and habits more than you realize. Being around people who inspire and support you helps you grow, while toxic relations obviously going to hold you back. It's not always easy to walk away from negativity, but sometimes it's necessary. You know, relationships play a huge role in professional success. Opportunities often come from authentic connections, not just resumes. Networking isn't about what someone can do for you, it's about building mutual respect and trust. The most meaningful career opportunities I've started with simple, genuine conversations. Again, if I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be this: relationships aren't just part of life, they're the foundation of it. Invest in the people who matter. Show up for them and let them show up for you. The connections you build will shape your life in ways you can't imagine. Bet on yourself. Betting on myself felt so tricky. I thought success meant following a safe, well-defined path: school, stable job, and sticking to what others expected. Trusting my instincts seemed reckless. What I didn't understand then was that betting on yourself isn't about being reckless. It's about believing in your ability to figure things out and take charge of your own life. Betting on yourself starts with a simple willingness to try. It's not about knowing knowing the outcome, but trusting that you can handle whatever happens. This mindset pushes you to stop waiting for permission and take action towards your goals. Even when the path feels uncertain, no one else will believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first. It also means stepping out of your comfort zone. Biggest growth often comes from the biggest risks, even if they're uncomfortable. Every time you take a chance, you build confidence and resilience. Whether or not you're going to succeed, you learn something valuable about yourself and your abilities. Betting on yourself also means trusting your instincts. There's no shortage of advice, but only you know truly your passions and goals. It's about tuning out the noise and making choices that truly feel authentic to you. Again, what am I going to tell my younger self? It would probably be this. Trust yourself. Don't wait for validation or guarantees. Take the leap. Betting on yourself isn't a gamble. It's the key to building a life that feels true to who you are. The journey is the reward. At 18, I thought life was all about reaching milestones and graduation and a great job and the perfect life. I believed that was waiting at the finish line. What I didn't realize was that life isn't about those destinations. It's about the journey that actually gets you there. The process, with all its challenges and surprises, is where the real value lies. The journey is where you grow. Failures, setbacks, and unexpected challenges teach you resilience and adaptability. These moments of struggle shape you far more than any easy wins ever could. Looking back, it's the lessons from those tough times is what I value the most. It's also where you learn to appreciate the small victories. Life isn't just about achievements, it's about the everyday moments that make the ride worthwhile. Whether it's a meaningful conversation or the quiet pride in progress, these moments give its depth. The journey also reveals how much your goals and values can change. Each step teaches you more about who you are and what truly matters. The path isn't about reaching a goal, it's about discovering yourself along the way. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be to embrace the process, celebrate progress, appreciate the lessons, and savor the moments. That makes life meaningful. The journey isn't always a part of the story, it is the story. And that's the best part. Wrapping up. So, if you're 18, 28, 38, hey, maybe even 58, and feeling like you're just not where you're supposed to be, you gotta take a deep breath. You're exactly where you need to be right now. Learn from your mistakes, invest in yourself, and keep moving forward. And hey, if you're ever a creative professional or freelancer looking to save time and get paid faster, check out Blakebill.com. It's not just a tool, it's a game changer. Trust me, I wish I had this when I was starting out. Here's to your journey. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's absolutely worth it. Cheers.